Report from Ambassador Trelf on first contact with humans. We discovered the humans after a one-crew fast courier ship had dropped into their system for refueling off their star, and noticed the satellites around the sun. The courier realized first contact superseded her mission, and moved in to make initial contact. The courier had messaged the humans about our impending visit to say hi, and the courier had received their response. As is normal practice, the courier said we would shortly send a diplomatic ship to meet them, to introduce them to the Galactic Federation, and take the opportunity for a look at their technology. As hundreds of revolutions have shown, we can learn new things from all races we meet, but this race, they scared myself and my contact team. The first face-to-face contact took place in space, not orbiting the third planet, their home, nor the fourth planet, their major colony, but out near the asteroid belt beyond the fourth. As per tradition, we had selected a first contact species who could breathe the same gases, and who looked similar enough to not scare them too much. Scare them. Our contact ship arrived at the asteroid belt. We expected a single ship to be there. As is normal, we sent our most advanced first contact ship. My crew and I had ridden a void for 2 weeks to get to this system, and some had hoped to be able to stretch their legs on a planet, or maybe even a moon. The transfer tube was sent from our ship to their docking hatch, and once a firm lock was established, myself and my aide drifted across to the hatch and politely waited for the humans to let us in. While we waited, we looked at their ship. Surprisingly, it was rather cleaner than we had expected. The outside was smooth, with no extra components or machines stuck to the hull to save space inside. Almost as if it had been designed for atmospheric entry, or as my pilot had suggested, to look nice. Based on our own designs, this ship must only have space for a single crew member, maybe 2 at most. The next surprise was that the hatch opened inwards. A ship this size, which has space for an airlock hatch to open inwards instead of outwards, or even slide into the hull, this is normally only seen in our largest colony ships, and only for the main hatch. This ship was too small for that. It must have been only a few hundred meters long, and less than half that wide. The airlock was also a surprise. There was space for both of us to fit in at the same time. It had taken us 2 cycles to leave our ship, my aide first, then me. Our airlock was too small for both of us to fit in at the same time. My technical aide had entered first, and had looked through the opposite door's window. I saw the 2 humans waiting for us, and she saw corridors. Once the suits had agreed that the air was breathable, and there were no pathogens present, we took off our suits and faced the door. As it opened, I started the same unprepared speech when the taller of the 2 humans smiled and said, "Hold on, wait till we get you to the ambassador." At the time, I thought these humans must be mad, fitting 3 people in the ship this small. Oh, how wrong we were. I expected the airlock to open straight to the crew area, or maybe the engine room, but Nimi, my technical aide, was correct. There was an actual corridor. Switching back to Galcommon, I suggested the corridor must be to show off their skills, or try to awe visiting spaces. It could not be real. I thought this as we walked down the corridor. I swear it was about 50 steps in half G, and we saw at least 2 other corridors branching off halfway. By the time we got to the door we were walking to, Nimi was almost giggling in delight. She had realised what this meant about 10 meters before I did. The giggling was a flight or fight response. She could do neither, so her brain started giggling to try to deal with what it was seeing. The human escorts looked at my aide and asked me if she was okay. I apologised and said this was her first meeting with a first contact race. It was a bit much for her. I was already thinking of suggesting we stop sending aides like Nimi on missions like this. Diplomatic staff, yes, but technical crew? They are not trained for this. Then we stopped at a door. Then the door opened. The room, yes, it was a room, had tables, chairs, and even a bed, folded up against a wall. The viewport seemed to be showing actual space through the transparent plastic. The ambassador was standing in the middle of the room, looking at me. It was at this point I would normally have said the prepared greeting, etc., and moved on to the invitation for the human race to apply to join the Galactic But my brain stopped working for a moment. While it tried to work out what it was seeing and feeling, it was warm in this room, actual heat. At this point, I realised I had been warm since exiting the airlock. I was so unused to warmth beyond the bare minimum allowed to keep us alive that my brain had taken a few minutes to process the feeling. The second thing my brain was having trouble with was the sight of naked fire in the cabin of a ship in deep space. I almost panicked and looked for something to smother the flames with, but I realised the flames were deliberate. They were in a fireplace. Human ships have fire on them. They have enough oxygen to waste on fire, and can handle the waste heat. The ambassador later told me he liked an open fire, and it did help with the chill in the air. Processing all of this, Nimi took this point to mention something else I was having trouble with. They have actual space in their ships, which we since learned have similar capabilities to ours. Their jump drives are maybe not as efficient, and they did not have our star maps, but their ships are eons ahead of ours in other aspects of their design. I looked back at the ambassador. Greetings from the Galactic Federation. I think we have a lot to learn from you. Please be our friends.